All right, Z, let's not waste any time. Let's get into it. For each of these, give me a couple of minutes on each guy and what you're thinking, but we're kicking off the draft. We got the bells going off. Gary Bettman's getting booed at the podium. Chicago inevitably comes up and announces.
I mean, there you go. Connor Bedard. We don't even have to.
So what can these fucking assholes expect to be coming in from Connor Bedard?
He will basically do whatever it is that you would like him to do. He can score. The shot is already like above average NHL level shot. The playmaking is something that like I think will actually even be better than it already is when he makes to the NHL, because he's going to be playing with players who can process the game at the same speed that he does. He's one of those players who his brain operates faster than like his feet do, and like generally the game in the WHL does. But the thing that he really like added to his bag this year was the fact that he is now also able to like play with players who can't really operate at the same speed as him, or like, because again, this is a kid that he is 4 plays ahead of what's going on, right? Like he already knows what the next play is, and the play after that, he's going to put himself in a good position. You know, and the thing with him is anyone that tries to be like, oh, well, you know what, I'll take Fantilli because, you know, Bedard, he might not make it because he can't play defense. This is a kid that's way too fucking good for you to give not one fuck about how he is defensively. Like he's that much of a freak. So
he's under 6 foot.
Yeah, well, that's a good point too. But I'll tell you what, man, like this year, I swear to God, he was starting scrums every single stoppage and like just getting after guys. But I mean, he's going to step in the NHL right away. And depending on what that lineup looks like, I mean, he already is their best center. He is going to have no problem stepping in, being an impact NHL player as a first overall pick. Like, and the fact that it's in Chicago again, it's sickening, but it is what it is.
Gross.
Of course,
Yeah,
it's what a fucking league.
What a fucking league indeed. Getting snubbed yet again. I'm sure Brian Burke is rolling over in his grave. Who is the Bobby Ryan of the 2023 NHL draft when the Anaheim Ducks reach the podium?
So the fact that Adam Fantilli falls in this team's lap is just, I'm sure, again, beautiful for them. Like this is a draft again, especially if you're already in a position like Anaheim where that prospect pool is already a top 5 pool as is. And the one thing that you're looking at in guys that either you're going to bring in or players that you're drafting high with high picks, if you can get another guy that's like a blue chip center, that's what I mean, like you can't miss right there. So the fact that Adam Fantilli just fell in their lap. So now if Zegras doesn't pan out as a center in the NHL because he's gone back and forth, he's actually, I feel like he's played a lot more wing than he has center in the National Hockey level. Now you have a guy like Fantilli who not only brings the offense because the skill is insane. Again, he's a big body. He's like 6'2", 6'3", super physical, plays that really good two-way game already at such a young age. And again, like he just checks every box. A two-way center that has absolutely point per game potential, where you're looking at it, you're like, we potentially have Fantilli and McTavish as a 1-2 punch for years to come. You have Zegras, you have Terry, you have plenty of other guys in the wing. I fucking still, I love Perreault still, another one of their prospects who's a winger. Mm-hmm. I think he plays a real fun game, but I think Fantilli fits the exact mold that they want, where he's super physical, he plays a hard game, again, plays a two-way game, and he's a no-shit center that, again, well over point per game potential. Like, I think this is a no-brainer pick for Fantilli to end up in Anaheim. Like, and that's just a sickening. Again, we were saying it before a couple minutes ago, like, they have Nathan Gaucher, who they drafted last year too. And he is like the epitome of the perfect 3C, and this just now you're not forcing him to be like a top 6 center. He could be because he is good enough that I think that the potential's there, but now you're comfortable with him being that 3C again. He's 6'4", 200 something pounds, physical, this hallmark of his game is defensive play, and he's got the underrated skill. He's got offense to his game. So like the fact that they're looking at their pipeline at the center position, Fantilli, McTavish, Gaucher, Zegras is technically a center, but I think he is going to end up being a winger, especially on this team. But
okay, so
the rich get richer. The rich get fucking richer with Adam Fantilli going to Anaheim Ducks.
Decidedly better 102 pick than Bobby Ryan. But the real question, I think, for Anaheim fans, supposedly Fantilli said he's going back and playing his next year at Michigan. Do you still think that's the case when Anaheim takes him or no?
I mean, I wonder if he looks at or I could go to California and play with Zegras, McTavish, Terry.
He thought it was going to be Columbus.
Yeah, he's like, but again, I think again, they're going to have all these kids. I don't think they're under the premise that they're going to be good again, like next year. So I think if he goes back, that's fine. Like, I mean, maybe he gets tempted by the idea of going to California, not seeing a snowflake for another year, and gets to, again, Zegras or McTavish or, whoever as his line mate, Terry, sure, maybe he gets tempted by that. But I think if you're Anaheim, you pretty much leave it open for him. And I don't think there's any reason that you need to pull him out of Michigan. I think it would only be good for him. Hey, go win a national championship.
Hey, there we go.
They're not making the fucking playoffs next year. They're not.
No, they're not doing that. All right. Next pick, we just had our boy Aaron Kinney on from Beer League Hockey. Agonized over, obviously not having the lottery go the way he wants. Who's Yarmo taken here at the 3rd spot in the draft?
Yeah.
If it's you, sorry, not who's Yarmo taking. Who would you take here if you're Yarmo?
I mean, I would probably end up taking Carlson. Again, Leo Carlson, he's a guy, a lot of people project him to be a center. I think he's more than capable of being a top 6 center at the NHL level. I think this is a kid who's got the high ceiling, high floor, where no matter where he is in your lineup, I think he's an impact guy. He's a 17, 18-year-old kid playing in the probably 3rd or 4th best league on the planet. And he is putting up record numbers for a kid his age, whether he was on the 4th line at one point when he went through a minor scoring drought at one point of the year, and all of a sudden he was a point per game. I mean, the kid's a stud. We just said it. He opted, instead of going to the U18 World Championships with Sweden, he went to the Men's World Championships playing against ex-NHLers. He's playing first line center for that team and lighting it up. He's a stud, man. And his ability, I think he processes the game at a crazy speed. Another guy that just thinks 2-3 plays ahead. And whether he's center, whether he's a wing, the skill, he loves to be on the puck, and he's this ability to create separation. But I think his skating isn't necessarily a hallmark of his game or whatever, but it's not uncorrectable. Where if you can unlock the skating too, I think you've got this just absolutely dynamic forward, whether he's center, whether he's a wing. Again, I think no matter where he is, he could be an impact middle 6 scoring wing or center. He could be a shutdown center at the 3C. I think he could play with really good players as a winger on the top line. He's a stud. He's my favorite player in the draft. I said this before. Mm-hmm. And as soon as the betting lines come out for the Calder, I'm taking Carlson. So that's who I would take at 3. But if he ends up in San Jose, then I won't take I won't bet on that. But
sure,
that's who I'd take at 3. But we said it before. I think they do end up taking Will Smith.
Yeah. Hey, this is all about who you
can't
would
lose
take.
There either.
If you have the choice for the team in their build, that's what we're going off of. And a quick pause in the draft, because this is actually pretty interesting, deserves to be discussed. From our boy Sean Cosgrove, Arizona holds pre-draft workouts, loses a first rounder. New Jersey signs Ilya Kovalchuk to a contract that was illegal at the time, loses a first rounder. Chicago covers up sexual abuse for a decade. Connor Bedard.
Rigged.
All right.
What a fucking league.
What a fucking league indeed. All right. On to the San Jose Sharks then. Based on your pick for Columbus that you are going with, of course, your boy of the draft, Leo Carlsson. San Jose Sharks, who are they taking it for?
I don't know how you pass on Michkov. This guy, again, you want to talk about like ceiling in this draft. He is not that far behind. I mean, I do think Bedard ended up with this year just completely separating himself. But I mean, you want to talk about offensive ceiling. Michkov, the shot is a joke. Incredibly creative. He has, like, you'd probably honestly say like poor skating, but it doesn't even fucking matter. Which, like, there are certain like foundational tools as a hockey player and like as an NHL player, and skating happens to be one of them. Like we've talked about this before. I put less value on it than a lot of people, but it is a foundational tool. If you can't skate, then like, okay, that's going to significantly limit you. But Matvei Michkov is a perfect pick for San Jose Sharks because they are in absolutely no rush. You want to talk about fucking cap hell. I mean, good for them for getting out of the Burns deal. I mean, I know Burns is still lighting it up and probably could have been a Norris finalist. But I mean, he signed for however more years. Couture signed for however many fucking more years. Vlasic has another like 4 years on his deal. Like, you're not in a rush to be good again. And you're going to let this kid go, continue to marinate in the second or third best league in the world. And again, this kid went to the worst team in the KHL. Like, that team was so bad and was, I think he ended up right under a point per game. Like, on a team that went like 25 games with 0 wins. It like didn't even sniff a win. Got the shit kicked out of him. And he instantly went there and like, not only did he like light it up offensively, but he actually corrected a lot of his game where he actually was a decently impactful defensive player for them and really showed more to his game than just like scoring. So we said it before, if the geopolitical climate wasn't what it was, if this kid wasn't signed for 3-4 more years, he would be a no shit first or second overall pick, right, with Bedard. And again, we've been robbed of like Russia versus Canada, Michkov versus Bedard in like so many tournaments now the last couple of years, and it sucks because like it was those two. Like, it wasn't necessarily just like Bedard no shit. I mean, I think Bedard always would have probably gone first because it's Canadian. But again, like, you want to plant fucking Matvei Michkov in the WHL, you're looking at fuck you NHL, like WHL numbers. Like, I mean, right there with Bedard. He's so much better than fucking everybody. Like, he is a stud. Like, he's so good. So for me, San Jose, that's a no-brainer pick. This kid's gonna fall. Like 2 years ago, this is like, you're gonna let him fall to number 4. Right. Which is also just like wildly impressive. Like, we talked about last year with Shane Wright. This would be beyond Shane Wright stuff where it's like, there's no reason this kid should be going 4th overall.
Totally.
And yet, who knows? Maybe he could fall beyond them too.
So 2 quick follow-up questions on that then, because one, like, I think it's important to build off of what you said about like Brent Burns could be a Norris nominee this year. Guess what? Erik Karlsson is a Norris nominee. You already said it earlier in this stream that they got their top 2 centers locked up long-term, Couture and Hertl. Like, how baffling is it that a team with that kind of talent has kind of been dog shit?
Yeah, I mean, I think when they signed a bunch of those deals, though, I think there were a lot of people who were saying, man, you better fucking hope they pan out for like at least half of that contract. I think like there was evidence there when all of those deals got signed, like, oh man, you better like win like in the next couple of years. So like, it's not shocking to me that Marc-Edouard Vlasic kind of like fell off a cliff. And again, like, it wasn't like Burns fell off a cliff, but they had to get some cap space back. They wanted to like pretend like they were still vying for not even like a playoffs, but just like be a good hockey team. But I think, look, again, like, they signed a lot of those deals. Everyone's like, man, you better fucking win the next 2-3 years because those are all going to be ugly deals. So I don't think it's like totally shocking. I think it was more shocking how quickly it happened, like how quickly all those guys like fell off. And again, like the one guy that they got out of that deal. Like Brent Burns, who probably could have been a Norris finalist this year.
And they still had a Norris finalist after trading.
And they still have the guy that's going to win. So there you go.
Bizarro world. The other question, just for people that maybe aren't aware, and maybe you're not fully plugged in on this, but like there's been so much, right? Geopolitical issues, long-term contract, issues that some jackasses brought up about his father passing. And then like, is there anything though to the fact of like, is there any chance that he just says, fuck it, I'm staying in Russia? Like, is that at all a concern?
I don't think so. I think like, people bring that up about the Russians all the time, but these guys want to go play in the best league in the world, and they know. Like, I mean, you look at any of those guys, like they all at one point come over. Like they're like, can anyone think of like one kid like in Russia who just never left? Like even when they fucking had to like commit crimes to leave Russia and come over when they first started like defecting. You know what I mean? Like fucking like they all want to come play in the NHL.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think there's a world where Mitch Cobb goes, no, I'll stay here forever.
And any comments for the jackass that decided to bring like his dad into the equation?
Fucking weird. That's fucking weird. I don't know why anyone would want to even like touch that, but like, I mean, it's the internet, and the internet's undefeated and very defeated at the same time somehow. So
fucking loser.
I don't know. It's not shocking. It feels like a fucking like John 0146212345 egg emoji or egg profile picture guy. One tweet ever.
No, it's usually
I can't tweet this is my real account. Yeah. John _ weed lover 69420.
Holy shit. All right. Moving on to one of your personal favorites, and I'll just call this out in case it's relevant to your decision making. We got number 5 overall, Montreal Canadiens, led by, unfortunately, my boy Marty St. Louis. They do have the 17th overall pick as well from the Florida Panthers. Your thoughts here? What are we doing at 5?
Yeah, no, and this is one of the teams too where like they're playing with the house money, where they've got this crazy good prospect pool. So you're probably looking position by position at that point. They've got that 70s. They can either take a home run swing now or they can take it later. It does seem like with how the NHL covets this guy. Well, I guess we're doing what I would do.
Yeah, what would you do? If you're the Montreal Canadiens at 5 and you can't tank the team, you can't destroy from within. What are you doing if it's the Boston Bruins with Montreal's roster and prospects just happens to be the Montreal logo?
Man, like Zach Benson, man, like I fucking love this guy. As a draft -1 on Winnipeg, who at that time, like they had, I think 2 or 3 guys that went first round last year in Geeky, Savoy. Maybe it was just those 2. Lambos is on that team from the year before. Like that team was loaded. Like one of the best teams, not just in WHL, the CHL. He was the best player on the ice in like 80% of their games as a draft -1. And this year he does the same thing. No matter what line they put him on, he elevates it. So he's a guy, he'll be a wing at the NHL level. He's a winger now at this point. And the thing that I don't think he'll go top 5, and it's only because he's like 5'10". But he plays a very good defensive game. But his skill, the playmaking, like this kid is gonna be a stud. Like he's so good. So that's who I would probably take at 5.
Love it.
And again, like you're talking about this kid that was playing in WHL as a 16-year-old, making his line the best line on the ice when his line mates were 2 guys that went the first round last year. Like, so he's a stud, and he did it again this year. Like, I think he had like 6 shorthanded goals too. Like he plays every area of the game. And like another kid where you're not looking at him saying, oh, he's the fastest skater in the world. Like it's realistically, like if you want to find a knock for Zach Benson, there's 2 things. It's the fact that he's not 6 feet tall and that he's not a very good skater. But the way he, again, like you have to have that like super high hockey IQ, or you have to think the game faster than anyone else to like mitigate that like lack of foot speed and just like bad skating. And he does that tenfold. Like, this kid's a fucking stud. So he's for me, I have him 5th, and then I have Will Smith, which I don't think is a shared, I don't think that's shared among the league.
No, fair. So that's the one we're going to look at in like 5 years and be like, yeah, those idiots are fucking wrong. But let's talk about it then. I imagine then, as we move on to 6th overall, Arizona Coyotes, which, again, just a heads up in case it matters at all. I'm sure it doesn't. They have Ottawa's pick at 12. But at 6, what are we doing? Or if you are the GM?
Yeah, I think this is where I take Will Smith. Despite the name. Man, Will Smith, like, he's like the skill, the plays that he makes. And again, like, just look at the production. It's out of this world, but he's so much fun, man. Like, he's a kid that's realistically, I mean, he is all offense, right? But especially if you're Arizona, you're sitting there saying, well, we got Connor Geeky last year. He plays a real good 2-way game. We've got plenty of other guys that can play at the center or the wing. So whether he's a center, whether he's a wing at the NHL level, like, the ceiling is so crazy high for him. And like, again, with smart scouting,
Hard R.
A really funny, easy with that. A really funny, like, or a really interesting comp when he's doing, like, making the plays that he makes. It's like a shorter version of like Tage Thompson. Like, some of the plays he's making, like, holy shit, where it's like, this kid only scores like Sports Center top 10 plays goals. Like, he's unbelievable, man. And it'll be interesting to see what he looks like in a couple of years when he is away from the line that he's been on for the last 2 years. Like, the international tournaments, they're still the same line. They're all going to the same college, BC. But you want to talk about crazy high ceiling, like, Will Smith is right there. Like, he is a stud. So if I'm Arizona, I'm very happy, especially knowing I also have number 12.
Locked and loaded.
More than happy to take Will Smith.
Love it. All right. This is the last one that can cause me any mental anguish, but talk to me. 7th overall, Philadelphia Flyers. Who are they taking? Or who should they take?
This is where it really gets interesting. I wouldn't be shocked to see them go for a Dvorsky, but that's higher than I think I would go.
What would you do? Besides break your neck?
Well, I don't know. That's usually my move. Man, Philly, like, last year they take Cutter Gauthier there. So there's probably not a defenseman I don't think I would probably take there. Man, that's fucking tough. Like, I am very nervous about a guy like Andrew Cristall, and I think a lot of NHL teams are too. But man, if you want to take a big home run swing on a defenseman, if you're Philly, you might try Reinbacher there, man. The big right shot, deep, crazy high ceiling. I don't know, because like 7's where it starts getting interesting for me.
Right. I want you to, like, you're the GM. Tell me what you would do. You can't go up to the podium and be like, I think I'm taking Reinbacher.
I know. That'd be very funny though.
It'd be hilarious.
Imagine they said that into the mic. If Chuck Fletcher wasn't
on the piece for 5 seconds here, hang on.
If Chuck Fletcher didn't get gassed, that's probably what he would say, though. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm pretty sure this is who we're taking.
I think we're gonna go with Reinbacher.
Reinbacher? Question mark.
Guys.
So, I mean, is that the move for you, or are you still evaluating?
I'd still like it. Again, this is where it really gets fucking hard, because, like,
I'm not letting you off the hook.
I know. I'm not asking you to. Man, like, I would love to say Crystal, because like his ceiling is crazy, but there's also a world where that kid doesn't even fucking sniff top 6. It's because Crystal's like this boomer bust guy where like the flaws are insane. Like fucking out of control. You know where I'll go with this one, I think? I think I might take a run at, especially if I'm Philly, a guy like Ryan Leonard.
Okay.
And I think if I was running a team, I would probably maybe even like someone like Oliver more than Ryan Leonard. But like
Don't
in
you fucking
totality,
send a gopher there. Don't you do
I
it to
know
me.
I can't do it to you. I just can't do it to you. But Ryan Leonard is a guy like in this draft, especially, you want to take a premier power forward who scores, can defend, like gives you a little bit of everything in all three zones, but as a fucking bulldog. I just kind of imagine him, and again, because Cutter Goche is going back to BC, man.
That
So like
works.
he will also they'll be there together, and those two could go to Philly together. Like
Who
I'd
who
say
was the
Leonard
guy
is
that went
fine,
to
man.
like 9 or 10 for Ottawa that everyone just shit their pants over?
How long ago? Because like
Year two.
every pick. Boucher is good. Tyler Boucher.
Boucher, yes. Like,
Beauty.
is this the earliest that we could
No, he's
see
not
the
going to do
Tyler
that.
Boucher type pick?
Well, I
Like,
mean,
no,
like
no,
Leonard,
not
not the
like
same
that
thing
player.
though.
Not the
Leonard,
same
a lot
player.
of people have.
No, I'm more saying like because this is where it gets dicey and because it's fucking Philly, is this where you could see like a totally off the board pick fly? Or is it just too early with how deep this draft is?
I think it's too early for that because, like, realistically, anyone projected in the top 20, I could see going here, especially here at 7. Like, who knows? Maybe Mitchkov is still there. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. But we're going off of your picks. So, all right, we got Ryan Leonard kind of locked in. Outside
I think they would. I think they would love like the idea of him and Cutter Goche being on a line together, like at the NHL level. I think Philly would fall in fucking love with that.
Dude, I just got to throw.
And he's a stud. He's a fucking stud, man.
Yeah, fair. End of the first period here, like 40 seconds left. Vegas is up 2-1 on Edmonton after both teams scoring in the first 5 minutes, and Vegas's goalie going out with a non-contact injury. And they're still up 2-rip right now, just about to end the first period. Just classic Edmonton shit. All right, pick number 8. We've got the Washington Capitals. What are you doing if you are trying to bolster the group that's going to get Ovechkin to pass Gretzky's record?
Man, like no one that you're taking. Well, I mean, Ovechkin's never. I think he could play. If you told me that Ovechkin was playing at 54 years old, I'd be like, yeah, no shit.
Hang on. How many minutes does he have to play?
As many as he wants to. The guy doesn't fucking break.
I'm telling you, I think that he can sign a legacy contract where he just re-signs year after year if he opts in, and he only plays on the power play, like true power play specialist like Kalen Addison. It would be brilliant. I'd love it.
It would be so good.
Can you imagine though? Like people would be so much more excited about power plays. Like here he comes, like fresh off crushing a Dr. Pepper. Here we go.
Dude, like he's such a fucking maniac.
He is. All right. So who are they taking here? Give it to me. Who are you taking here for them?
Man, like I'm like deciding, just like looking at their prospect pool too. And again, like that's a mistake when you're this is a draft where you probably are going full on like
that's a good question though. Because of how deep the draft is, does that make you more or less inclined to swing for positional need? Like, is it like, yes, you're passing on a great player, but you're also getting like an incredible player wherever you're reaching for? Or does that mean, no, you just take the best player and shut the fuck up?
Fucking great question.
All right. Well, all right. So who are you taking as the GM of Washington, wanting Washington to succeed?
Oh, this is so hard. Oh, man. I'm trying to decide if I want to go.
Let's hear the options. Lay it out.
Well, I mean, it's literally like, because I could justifiably see them, and again, I'm not saying like, oh, this is not what I would do. I could see them justifiably like, divorce could be a great ad at this point right here, because this is a kid who knows if he's a center or wing, but he's an NHLer, and probably won't take him that long to adjust to the NHL. We could potentially get him here when Ovi's still doing his thing, but there's risk there with, man, if I take this fucking kid high, it doesn't pan out. If this year is like more of an indicator of who he is versus the last couple, then like, yeesh, that's gonna hurt. Or like you look at that prospect pool, man, like on the back end, dude, like they could use a guy. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going. I'll go defenseman. I'm gonna take the Russian kid, Simashev. This kid is a fucking stud. I don't know if I'd actually do that, but like
is that
in
all
my
the
head,
more you have for him? He's just a fucking stud.
So this is a kid, you look at his counting numbers offensively and you're like, lacking. But he's got size. He skates unbelievably well. He defends well. He's physical. Like he does everything. And he's from Russia. He plays for Loco.
That certainly helps when Ovi is the only Russian left.
I know. Well, no, they've got a couple guys. Isn't Alexei what's his face? Or did they already trade him? They might have.
You're not talking Alex Semin, I hope.
No. Yeah, he's on the team, isn't he? He's still tough and feathery every year.
I remember back in 2009, he fucking torched.
Yeah. Fuck it. He's a stud, man.
Pretty sure Kuznetsov's not back. They traded their boy to you. I don't know.
No, they took Marashchenko. They took Marashchenko got out of the KHL contract too.
Okay, fair enough. All right,
so he's coming. So yeah,
that's still really low for like infiltrating the American government in DC. They need more.
Yeah, they got Alexiev. Alexiev is still there.
Right, Simashev.
Yeah, I think actually, and again, Simashev, I think he does everything. Like, and the counting stats aren't necessarily there, but like you look at the foundation of tools he has, and again, like this is a kid, he's like 6'2" and skates. Like not only whether it's like speed, or just like beating guys to pucks. Like I have watched him. Like there was one time I was watching a game, and he again like he's retrieving, right? So they dump the puck in. He's going to retrieve the puck. He broke a forechecker's ankles and sent him like face first into the boards. But I was like, oh my God, he didn't even touch him. And he fucking may have killed this guy just by being that deceptive. Like he does everything. He does everything. Like I don't see a world where this kid doesn't pan out as like an impact top four defenseman because he's got the size. He defends at an elite level. And like, it's funny because you talk to any like public scout and like there's no reason the offense shouldn't be here because he does everything you're supposed to do. Like anything you look for as a scout and like a defenseman that has offensive upside, he does. And again, you want to talk about tools? Insane. Like this kid is no shit. Like I think he ends up probably being the second defenseman off the board anyways. I do think the NHL guys are just going to look at David Reinbacher and be like, look at that's Moritz Seider. That's who he is. Which is he? I don't know. He is legit and he might be the best defenseman in this draft. But I think if you're Washington, you'd be happy to add to that prospect pool with this kind of a defenseman because again, he does legitimately everything at an elite level. He is unbelievable.
Okay, I'm in. Then we've got Stevie Y, who is the fuck everyone else. I'm picking who I want to pick. Don't care what the hell else everyone thinks. Like we saw it obviously with Moritz Seider. Like, hey, like what'd you think about reaching for him? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's where he was on our board. So Z, this is your chance to just totally go with what you feel because he would do the same. Who are you picking for Detroit?
I kind of love Oliver Moore going to Detroit. So whether it's center, whether it's wing, whatever, this kid, like the skating is insane. Like he's kind of parts of his game, honestly, like really do remind me of like a Dylan Larkin where He's dynamic offensively, and again, probably a top 5 skater in terms of foot speed, four-way mobility, whatever. Like anything that you want to talk about skating, like he's got it. He might be the best skater in the draft, honestly. But I kind of love the idea of Oliver Moore going there and playing with Dylan Larkin. And this is a guy who, like, at certain points in this season, he was going ahead of Will Smith or Ryan Leonard or Gabe Perreault or whoever from that U.S. team. They would have told you Oliver Moore. I do think, like, he can be, again, whether it's center, whether it's wing, doesn't really matter. I think he's got crazy skill. The offensive upside's real good. He plays a good two-way game when he wants to. And he's just an elite level skater. So I kind of, knowing that they also have a mid first round pick in their like pocket too.
They got the 18. I forgot to mention that. I was going to throw that in at the end, but yes.
So this is where, like, with Detroit, I would like kind of love the idea of Oliver Moore ending up there.
Dude, you know they're going to get Sandin Pellikka at fucking 18 as well, just because that's how it fucking works for them.
It's either him. Well, yeah. It's either him. We've said this before. Well, I've said it before. I would not be shocked whatsoever if that's where, like, Tom Willander ends up.
Sure.
He's skyrocketed up everyone's rankings, rightfully so. This kid, I fucking love this guy. And that way they will have eventually, assuming Wallinder continues to pan out, if they have a second pair of Wallinder and Willander, I'll be the happiest person in America. I love it. And they're both fucking nasty, and they both have Rogala. Like, it's amazing.
That's brilliant. Okay, that has to happen at 18 then.
But if they don't go Oliver Moore, that's where I would be like, they're looking for that, like, right shot defenseman. And if they don't want to take Willander at whatever, this is where Ryan Bacher, because again, everyone's like, that's Cider 2.0.
Sure. Okay.
So if you have two of him, I don't necessarily think he's Cider,
nice.
but
that'd be nice.
He'd be a poor man's Cider.
Okay. And this is the first one where I kind of, like, we don't need to really get into it, but I want to entertain the possibility of trade and not trading back, but we've got the St. Louis Blues at 10. They also have Dallas's and Toronto's picks that are projected at 29 and 30. Like, do you see any kind of package to move up, or are they just thrilled to have 3 first-round picks in this draft?
I don't know. I could see them being thrilled to be right here. Yeah, that's a tough one. No, I think in this draft, dude, like,
you take 3 firsts and say thank you.
If anything, yeah, I could see, like, if they want, again, because, like, realistically, they shouldn't be a lottery team next season. If they wanted to trade back, wouldn't be like the most shocking thing in the world, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like,
so instead, you see them using one or multiple of these picks to add a current roster player.
If they want, yeah. I mean, I don't see them doing that, but, like, because again, the player that they could get here is
maybe that's saved for the 29, 30. All right, we can move past it then. Z, no trades made. St. Louis is picking at 10. Who are you picking for them?
I mean, I can't see him falling beyond this, and I'm just, like, off the top of my head thinking about their pool. I bet you they would love to add, like, David Reinbacher. So I'll take the right shot defenseman right here. So he's already playing in a pro league that's legit. He might be the best defenseman in this draft. A lot of people do think he is. I think he makes sense here, dude. Like, because eventually they're going to have to start fucking getting good at some of these guys. And I think he gives you a lot of what people want Parayko to give you, minus the shot. The shot's good. It's not Parayko level. Like, the Parayko thing is insane. But defends incredibly well. He's a very good skater. He's big. Again, like anytime you can add a premier right shot defenseman to your pool, absolutely you do it. And he's probably some version of a poor man's Mort Sider. And with how physical he is, I think he would be adored and loved in St. Louis. So I think this might be where I start being like, yeah, Reinbacher, let's go here with Reinbacher.
Okay.
He's legit, man. This kid's a stud.
I mean, especially when they're going to be in a good spot to pick up 2 quality forwards at the end of the first.
You can take a big swing on what might be the best defenseman in many drafts over the next few years. So I think that would be like, I think they would love that.
Oh, so now we're talking to Isha, staring into his soul. Who do his Vancouver Canucks get at the 11th pick?
I kind of wonder if they look at, I mean, Hansik's already there in Vancouver playing WHL, and he's a stud too. I think he's awesome. He might pan out as a center. I don't know if that's necessarily who I'd go. Man, I think you might want that fucking. I think this would be a good spot. If I'm not, this is where I'd probably be okay taking Dvorsky. Did I already say Dvorsky?
If you're who?
Vancouver.
Oh, I thought you said Anaheim. Sorry. Dvorsky has not been said. I've been worried this whole time you'd say Rick, but I figured that was the move here.
I think right here, this might be because you know what, too? Like, they also swung that trade and got Atu Ratu. So now you've got Pedersen right there, your first line center. You've got Atu Ratu, who I think has, since he's been drafted, his stock has not taken a hit. Again, a guy that was challenging the year before his draft for first overall last year and fell into the second round with the Islanders. They traded for Bo Horvat. So I think you look at a 1-2-3 punch of Pedersen, some combination of Dvorsky and Ratu. I think maybe you're like really reaching, hoping that one of Ratu and Dvorsky will be a second line center, because I think at this point, you know, previously we would have said, yeah, Dvorsky absolutely could be. And I still think he could be, but like that felt likely at this point. This year just has not gone well for him. But I think whether it's Ratu or Dvorsky is a 2 or 3C plus other guys that they have down there in that pool anyways, like I think that would be a real good piece to add for them. I like Dvorsky, man. Like he's just kind of turned himself this year. It's like you kind of you might worry that he's like going to end up being a grinder, which I don't know. I think he's a safe NHL player. You're just like hoping the impact hits. So I think if he ends up panning out as a center, a 1-2-3 punch of fucking Pedersen, Dvorsky, and then Ratu, I think that's a real nice idea for years to come.
Fair. Now we have the Ottawa draft pick traded in a shockingly low package compared to expectations for Jacob Chychrun to the Arizona Coyotes. I got to throw out the first trade proposal here. Tell our boy Nicholas Schuster if this is batshit crazy or brilliant. Minnesota's 20-something pick and Addison for Arizona's 12th pick.
No, I think they're happy taking the 12th pick. They're not in a rush. They're happy to fucking take whoever this is. This is where I look at.
Well, so appease Nick quick.
It's not crazy.
No, not that. I'm just saying if you couple Addison with Minnesota's pick, going to be 21 or 22, what do you see being the highest they could trade up if that was it? If you're just trading Addison in the first, how far can you move up the draft?
I don't think there's a world where you get higher than this. Off the top of my head.
So the Wild are stuck where they're at.
I'm trying to think, like, unless you're St. Louis and you want, and like Addison's that appeasing.
Sorry, I'm not comparing it to Arizona. I'm saying, like, is it short of Arizona? Like, can they move up to 18? Can they move up to 13? Like, what's realistic in your mind?
I mean, I think Buffalo would be interested, but they don't really. I don't know if they necessarily need any defensemen. I mean, like, at that point, and there are plenty of teams who'd be like, okay, if you want to like give up this prospect and we still get to pick 20. I mean, Detroit has how many first round picks? Any team that has multiple first round picks already probably would be like, yeah, we'll move back a couple slots, I guess. And this is just me thinking off the top of my head right now, but
Sure. Had to throw it out there because everyone's under the assumption that
Montreal was a 17. They get Florida's pick.
Yep, Florida's pick at 17. Like, is it worth it to you to move up 5 picks for coupling Addison in a deal?
I don't know. I think you're not getting a guy that's really gonna bolster that pool for several years. And I think you can get someone at 22 that'll probably have at least a similar, slightly lesser like effect on you. So
yeah. Well, let's go batshit crazy then.
I think Addison like that thing would probably be more realistic and like potentially even like advantageous to group a few picks.
Does Rossi, Addison, and that draft pick get you top 6 or 7 in the draft in your mind?
It's weird. I think both teams are like, fuck.
I don't know what to do.
Like, why do they want to do this? And then you're all sitting there like, why do I want to do this? Hey man, we don't want to do this, do we?
Both teams both teams are probably like, and both teams like, wait, hang on, you want to back out? No, I still want to do this.
I think you're nuts if you do that if you're Minnesota.
I'm totally with you, but I love both those players to death. So I'm biased and I can't weigh in. All right, back on track then. Arizona sticks with the pick at 12. They've already taken on Will Smith, name maybe being changed at some point because it's confusing as hell, but stud centerman. Who do we got at 12?
This is where I like this like group like 8 to like 14 is where I stopped really. Man, oh God.
This is your opinion, not what people.
No, I know. I'm looking. I'm not thinking about.
Give me a couple. Like who are you thinking about?
Axel Sandin Pellikka, man, like electric back end guy. Like, and I'm just thinking about the defensemen they have in the pool now. They got Langlois from Cape Breton and Quebec, who I think there's an uphill climb for him to be a top 4 defenseman. Duda, if he ends up coming over the NHL, I think he's a stud, but let's see. Victor Soderstrom, I think, could be a fucking animal. I love that guy. I think this might be where I take the swing at Sandin Pellikka. No, I've already got, you said I took Will Smith with their first pick, right?
Yep.
I think you could take a big time home run swing on Sandin Pellikka here. And I mean, you want to like talk about electrifying. And again, I think he took some big steps defensively this year too. Like, yes, he's undersized, but you've also got a couple guys there already who kind of fit the mold of like, hey, we've got this part covered. We kind of need this guy. Like they traded Gostisbehere, right? Where like Sandin Pellikka could be a far more electric right shot version because you've already got Soderstrom there too. And like,
has he won a natty?
And you're not worried about, good point. Great question.
I can laugh about that one now that the more recent
it doesn't hurt as bad.
Tragedies happened.
Yeah, right. I think I might take the swing at Sandin Pellikka here, dude. Like he's so fun. He's so fun.
Dude, yeah, I'm just disappointed because you've taken my 2 draft crushes at 11 and 12. 2 picks away now from Pittsburgh. So fuck, whatever. It's a good pick. I respect it. Moving on now, we got Kevin Adams taking at the 13th pick for the Buffalo Sabres. Who we got?
There's a couple guys I'm going back and forth on. This is, you want to talk about like the rich get richer. I mean, this this pool is loaded, like all over. So I kind of wonder if this is where I would start thinking about a guy like Gabe Perreault, where he doesn't need to drive the line, but he can make plays. His shot is already like high-end NHL level, or even higher ceiling. Do I want to take a guy like Edward Shala for the Czechia? Dude, this kid, when he gives a shit, is fucking one of the best players this age. So those two, and then I start thinking about a guy like Colby Barlow as well, who also just produces. I don't think he ends up being a center at the NHL level. So, man, that's tough. I might go pure upside and go Shala, Edward Shala.
All right.
But I am fucking holding my breath for that one. Fortunately, you have a prospect pool that's already fully loaded.
Already stacked for sure. I mean, anything more though you want to say about why you pick him?
The skill is insane, man. And like, I think if he's in a situation where he doesn't necessarily need to be the guy that's driving a line every night, like, and I think in this situation, he's going to be coming up with a lot of guys right around his age. Like, I think like that age group, like right now, 18 to 25, 26, like there's so much fucking talent there. They've already got Thompson. They've got Cousins. They've got, what's that fucking Russian kid they took a couple years ago? God damn it. Oh no, they took Savoy last year, didn't they? Oh my God. I forgot about him too. So I think like the fact that there's already a million skilled guys there where he doesn't necessarily need to be someone that's driving a line. Like he's so nasty when he wants to be. Like it is electric. So I think for them, they can afford to take a home run swing on upside. And if Chalet hits, he's going to be a fucking stud. Like top 6, no question about it. But if he misses, like low floor, like he could get himself in trouble. Right. But again, you're looking at Buffalo, you're saying like whatever, like, all right, this isn't necessarily a draft you want to miss in, obviously. But like
when you got that pool, you can afford it.
Man, it like the only thing that makes me nervous about that pick is if he can afford to be a passenger, he will be a passenger. And like that's a lineup full of guys where it's like, hey man, do you want to be good or not? Like fucking like, do you want to be here? But that's a pure upside bet. And I think for them, I'd be like, fuck it. Like if he hits, man, like this kid is fucking unbelievable. Like I encourage people to just go look at his highlight mix. That mixtape from the fucking Hlinka Gretzky last summer, it was a joke. Like he was lighting everybody up. He's nasty. He's unbelievable.
All right, fair. Now, Z, give it to me. Make me happy. Who do the Pittsburgh Penguins select at 14?
I want to make you happy so bad, you know? Joey, just that's all I want here. And the thing with this pick is like, again, I was saying this before. I was like kind of going team by team, like, all right, like where are they like lacking / what position?
Pittsburgh's not everywhere, so that's not even.
That's what I mean. I was like, oh, everywhere.
The only noteworthy prospect for them is Owen Pickering, so I guess not defense.
And he's legit, man. He's good.
He's sick.
I bet you fucking. Well, actually, no, it doesn't matter. I was about to say like I was about to bring up like Brian Berg. I was like, oh nope, that doesn't really matter.
Who's Dubas taking, and why?
Yeah, man, I kind of wonder in this spot, like, I'm going back and forth between someone like safe, decently high floor, and like Callum Ritchie. I'm looking at like big dudes with like legit ceilings. So like him.
I was going to say, go high upside and give me a guy that can play in 1 or 2 years. Possibly.
Callum Ritchie would be a decent option there. I also
Tell
think
me
a
on
guy
it.
like Samuel Honzik, big boy, plays center, plays wing for Vancouver, stud. Man.
So
Trying to
pick
think
one
who.
and talk me into it. Get me excited. Sell me the magic beans.
Actually, you know what? I don't think I'd. Colby Barlow. Decently sized, plays a decent two-way game. I think he probably ends up being a center at the NHL level, but I think he's just such like an NHL player. Like every time you watch, you're like NHL. And he almost scored. He was second or third in the OHL this season, I think, in goals. I think a lot of them just like weren't like, I don't know how much goal scoring will really translate, but that shot is crazy. And again, you want to talk about a guy that like, I think if he hits, that's a player that NHL fan bases fall in love with, where like he every single shift he is fucking giving her. Like, I mean, it's like it's his last. So I think Colby Barlow there could be an interesting one. Again, like I think they want a guy that's going to be play big, be physical, good upside, obviously, because they just need the upside. So like a guy like Colby Barlow, again, I still have questions about just how much of the offense that pop this year will translate at the NHL level, but I think he's such a safe NHL player, and I think the upside's legit enough that I still would get somewhat nervous, but like again, like you're looking at the shot right now, it's NHL level stuff. Like there's a lot of parts of his game where you're sitting like, yep, this kid's fucking unreal, like nasty. So I think you would be very happy to take a guy like Colby Barlow, even if it's somewhat a little bit risky.
All right. I'm in. I'm on board. I could have been more excited, but I'm definitely on with what you said. Now we've got new GM stepping away from the bench, Barry Trotz. You're Barry now. Who are you taking at 15 for the Nashville Predators?
I feel like I've let Chris Dahl fall so far. Oh, you know who they're gonna fucking? You know what? Actually, this would be probably pretty good pick right in this range. Quentin Musty of the OHL, the Sudbury Wolves. This dude is so fun. I think he's like 6'4", big boy, very like raw in terms of he really needs to like mature a little bit. Just like some of the shit he does on the ice, it's like you fucking idiot. But like,
I mean, people told Kachuk he needed to mature at one point. So
no, this kid like, yeah, but like a lot of what Kachuk has always been doing, like it's different. Like some of the stuff Musty does, it's like, are you fucking nuts? I think he got suspended twice this year for slew footing. But like the offensive upside with this kid is outrageous. And he at one point, like, you know, coming into like last summer, he was a guy that people look at like, all right, top 10 pick for sure. He had a rough start to the year, really undisciplined, like getting himself in trouble all the time, like living in that coach's doghouse. And then he kind of started turning on when like a 16-game point streak, broke his fucking hand in a fight to the point where it was like, uh-oh, like, let's see what this is going to look like when he came back. And he came back from a broken hand and was better. Like he's crazy. Like he is unbelievable. Again, though, you're taking the winger. So it's like, they've kind of taken their swings on like a guy last year, like Joachim Kemmel, where also a sniper, 5'9", 5'10". Now you're taking like a guy like Musty at 6'3", 6'4", big boy, plays tough, like plays Nashville Predator hockey, like kind of unhinged. And again, like the ceiling is crazy with him. So I love Quentin Musty, and I think this would be a pretty good pick right around there for sure.
Okay. And I mean, quasi unrelated, but you talk about breaking the hand. You're either going to think this guy's a beauty or think that he's a lunatic. I don't care. one of my college roommates, we have what we called senior week, where after finals are done, you have like 5 days
senior
of
week.
just fucking crushing everything that you see in front of you. And he ends up punching a metal door for reasons we don't need to get into, and goes up to shake the president's hand at our actual graduation. He's wearing a fucking American flag bow tie and goes up, and the president sticks his hand out for a handshake, and he just throws up his cast and offers knucks.
Yeah.
And the president nut them back, and he was pretty proud of himself.
It's because he's a beauty.
Okay, beauty. All right. Tyler passes. All right. Last lottery pick here. 16. The Calgary Flames, who are GM-less, who are coachless, who are just all sorts of discombobulated. Who are you picking to get fans excited?
So back when I was doing like a realistic draft in my head, and this is where I was putting guys like Sandin Pellikka and Reinbacher and Simashev. Actually, my first two were Simashev and Sandin Pellikka, which they're obviously not here. I'm going back and forth. If I want to take a full on high risk, high reward, very fun, but like I have my serious doubts. Pick in a guy like Mikhail Gulyayev, who is a left shot defenseman. He's undersized, legitimately all offense. Like may as well not step foot in his own end. But he's like a miniature Denton Mateychuk, like you would be like a far less responsible Denton Mateychuk type pick. And you look at that prospect pool, and I think, the prospects on the back end that they do have, he would actually kind of bolster. Like he's giving you the area you really don't necessarily have at that level. Because I mean, when he plays, it's a video game, and like he's unbelievable. But he's such a fucking liability, and I just can't really see a whole lot of coaches being okay with him doing what he does.
Well, there's no coach, like so all the better.
Perfect. That, or if I'm them, like I'm just thinking in my head like two big home run swings that are like super high risk. It's like him or Chris Dahl, where it's like the forward version of where it's like what he plays and he's on. It's a video game, but another guy, all offense, very, very so inconsistent decision making, like crazy. But the shot's legit playmaker when he wants to be. Both undersized, but like they're both so fun. So I kind of feel like giving the Flames like a home run pick in that respect, where hey, Daryl's gone, he's not gonna fucking bury him like he did this year with what's his face, Peltier.
God.
Zari, maybe he can now play soon. So I'm going back and forth between do I want the defenseman or do I want the forward? At this point, I kind of feel like Crystal's upside is crazy high. So I think I'll go Andrew Crystal, however you want to say it. Left wing, Kelowna Rockets. At one point was putting up like 2.2 points per game in WHL this season as a fucking draft eligible, right behind Bedard. Got hurt, came back, just kept lighting it up, put up crazy points. Like his mixtape is a fucking like NHL on easy mode mixtape. Like he is so fun, but like I just don't know how much of it's gonna work out. But like he's just on another planet in terms of skill. The shot's legit. Like he's so fun. So I kind of feel like if I'm Calgary, I kind of feel like just taking a home run swing, because you've also got Coronado coming too. You've got guys that on the back end that fit that defensive role. And I mean, you still have young defensemen there that are real good. So fuck it. Let's go Crystal. Or take it like literally like Sutter's worst nightmare.
Yes.
So I think that makes it funnier, actually.
Perfect. It'd be funnier if he was there. Almost like if the Packers had taken a wide receiver in the first round right after getting rid of Rodgers. That would have been brilliant. Vegas goes up 3-1 halfway through the second. Z, we're both running on fumes. Totally up to you, man. I'm good to keep going if you want to. If you want to call it quits, no problem at all. But we can either go up through the supposed Minnesota Wild pick, or we can call it good for the night. What are we doing?
Well, I just got to take a piss first. Someone said hello from North Korea. I'll tell you what, I don't know if I believe them.
It would be quite the time to be tuning in.
That would be fucking unbelievable.
Like, what fucking time would that be? Hey, up to you. I can.
Are you on vacation? Like, how fucking? Let's go to North Korea.